No, it's difficult. Oh, it is difficult. It's not easy to change an adult. Any behavior you see, just prepare your mind that it can only get worse when you get married. It takes the grace of God for an adult to change their behavior.
Mm.
Yes. So any red flag you see, just prepare your mind that it's gonna get worse.
Mm.
If it changes, thank God. But it's difficult. We have to be real. We have to, sometimes we try to paint the word. Oh, don't worry, it's gonna change. You never know what will happen tomorrow. It will. I know. I don't believe in such things anymore. We should face the reality. We should stop living in our imaginations. Yeah, when I start living with him or start with living with her, she's gonna change. Forget it. It's difficult. So that's what I got to say for now.
Awesome. You know, the first thing is forgiveness is not about excusing the bad behavior. We need to be clear about that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to forgiving somebody, it's not about okay, I'm gonna excuse his bad behavior. That's part of no, it's not. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is not tolerating the person's behavior. That's not what we're saying. You're not excusing the person's behavior. And it's not about forgetting the issue either. Forgiveness is not about forgetting.
So I understand that, forgiveness is for self. You're not doing it for the person. And I also saw someone say you can forgive anything, but of course, you don't have to accept, the behavior. She's
That's
right.
right.
So
That's right.
in this case, it's kind of, I don't know. It takes beyond therapy to even get to that level where you say you want to even actually forgive. Some people are actually, they'll be like, I'm willing to go through all the stress of forgiveness,
Mm.
actually put myself in that situation where I'll ever forgive. Because they're not just thinking of one side, they're also thinking about their own children. Will my child ever forgive that I even you understand? So I know that forgiveness is not forgiveness is not memory loss. That's what it is.
No. I like that. It's not memory loss. It doesn't mean that you have to forget. It doesn't
Yes.
mean
It's not memory loss. Even if you try to, pretend like you're strong, you still stay in the head. And then with the whole issue of consequences, even if someone decides to say, okay, I want to forgive, the consequences is still not like you. There can be forgiveness and there can also be consequences.
That's
So
right.
go ahead, face the consequences. You're just doing that healing for yourself. So, but like with normal crisis in a home,
Mm.
normal, forgiveness is something that is encouraged. You do it. It's good for yourself, for everybody, for peace. But when it comes deep down to some things where it's like shocking. Like when I mean shocking, especially you believe this is something that, like, you wouldn't think this person can go to this
Mm.
extent. So it's even say we can even have example even with family members, for instance, back home, maybe trying to, be an intel for something else. I'm just saying
Mhm.
for their own people, like giving intel negatively for something that will impact their family member. Even if you come to that point of forgiveness, it's just like, I can never be that same person I used to be with this person. It's over. And forgiveness is a journey. It's not like, one, like it just happens. No, because
Yeah, it takes
once,
time and patience, isn't it?
yeah, because even it can also trigger things like, we talk about like trauma and all that.
Mm.
Some things, once it's like you're trying to even understand why some things happens, it's like the person is reliving the cycle again, and the trauma, it's almost like it's lasting and it's not going. So, I just find that, it's kind of tricky when it's on a very deeper level. It's just only the grace of God to even help the sanity in that aspect. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Let me bring your attention to two scenarios here. Okay, two scenario. Biblically, you find out that Peter denied Christ, and he knew he was going to do it. So what am I saying? There are some behavior that you know that it will reoccur by the capacity and the behavior of the person. You can tell that this behavior will reoccur. So that part, the readiness to forgive that person, depending, well, because at the moment we can say that denial was not grievous enough, was not deep enough. But sometimes, to some people, that could be deep enough, where they experience betrayal, denial. All right. So some level of betrayal today in marriage and relationship, most of them are unforgivable by others. They don't see that it's something they can forgive. So in that pattern, there's always a pattern anyway. That's what I'm trying to say. There's always a pattern. The person, for him to do such a deep, hurting situation, something against you, there must be a pattern left behind for that thing to happen. Like Christ telling Peter, you are going to deny me thrice.
Miracle
Is affecting relationship and marriages. You know, before we get into marriage, do people understand the meaning of the marriage? Do we understand the meaning of love? When you ask what makes you get into this marriage, they will say, oh, because I love him. How did the love comes? We don't know. They can't explain it. What makes you think the next 5 years you are going to be with this man? What makes you think? How can you tell me the future between you and the person? We cannot say it. Or we think, oh, because I love him, oh, he's a good person. You know, human beings have a characters within us that it doesn't come out straight. It comes out bit by bit. You can live with someone for years. The character the person is bringing in the home is different for how the person portray themselves in the church. And it's different how the person portray themselves with the friends or when they go to a gathering.
Yeah.
So when it comes like that, an issue happen, and one side is talking about, oh, this person has done this. The church members, the pastors, the friends will see a different thing. So when it comes to that, they hold themselves up to stay in there because now they are emotionally broken. So the man will think, oh, she has forgiven me because I apologize and she has forgiven me. But when we look into it, that is not an issue. There is no emotional support for the woman to take initiatives to take a step. You find yourself in that relationship on your own. So when we talk of forgiveness, in what angle are we going to talk for the forgiveness from? There's so many ways we can go that we find ourselves that, oh, you need to forgive the person. But when you go deep into it, you know, it says more. You cannot push yourself there. But as a church, as a leaders, as a family, because we are not in, oh, forgive him, that's how marriage is. Oh, forgive her, that's how marriage is. Until the person passed away, the truth will never come out. So what forgiveness are we talking about? In marriages, there's so many anger in so many parts of, you know, people's home. In marriages, there's so many things that people cannot say it. You can see someone, you will know that this person is not happy. But the person is pretending, hallelujah, hallelujah. Emotionally, the person is crying. Emotionally, the person is dying. Oh, the pastor will come and preach forgiveness. Your family are preaching forgiveness. People around you are preaching forgiveness. How long can the person go on?
We said forgiveness is not about tolerating bad behavior. So
That is
it's
it.
very clear. I don't know why somebody will stay forgiving when a bad behavior is being repeated over and over. You walk away. That's the point. You see, these are the things that people don't teach. You have to be truthful. If the forgiveness is given sincerely and the person repeating the same issue, even getting worse by the day, save yourself from it. Just let it go. You've done your part to forgive. The reality is, it's not something you must be there in to die in. That's the point. Until the person, now, a simple solution to that is just be separated. Walk away. Tell him, I'm leaving. I need a space until you change, until you see the need for this. I'm not going to cope with this behavior. Then your family may say, well, you were wrong. They say, why listen to family? You didn't marry the family, you married the man. So this kind of thing, really, I feel that's why this platform is open. I feel that some of us are not bold enough to really approach life. I'm not blaming, a lot of people are making decisions based on sentiment, based on emotion. It's the truth. Before you even marry this guy, how did you go about investigating? Did you even spend time to find out about him? It just listening to him alone is not enough. You have to find out about this guy. There are friends he has. There are people who is close to him that know him so well that you don't know. Get to find out. Do your work, due diligence, because your life is at stake. Your future is going to be in the hand of this person. You can't just blindly get in. But
what about the one that don't keep friends?
There are those who do. No man doesn't at a certain level. Yes.
There's some you cannot see their friends.
Then you have to, they have friends. You can't see it.
No, some of them you don't know how they keep their friends. You know, when the person has planned their life a way that you will not know anything about them. You go to the family. Some of them, the family will not come out to tell the truth.
That's already a red flag now. That's a sign to stay apart, to watch from a distance. But that's a very clear red flag for you to say, okay, let me watch from a distance. Let me see how this thing goes. Then that kind of commitment should be delayed. You you can approach the relationship. Your delay commitment. Let the person prove, let all your doubts be cleared, at least most of them. If you have a doubt in a relationship with somebody, and you know that these things are not clear, it's like you're watching a thing that is not clear, then stop or wait for the whole thing to clear off. Don't just commit. But that is the problem I have with most of our women. They just commit, they just go in. It's okay, maybe things will get better. I will get to know him better. And then you do all of these things and then you are committed.
You know, some of the women, they love when they think the person is in love. But at the end of the day, they find out that it's not in love. So, you know, for a woman to summon courage to come out is where maybe your next program. Because a lot are going through an issues. And a lot the men will do and come back and say, oh, I'm sorry today. And do it again and say, I'm sorry the next day. And do it again, say sorry, but it will be repeating itself. There's a lot, as you have said, to come out from. You know, the society you find yourself. Where to go, who to talk to, where to get help is an issue. It's a big issue. When I saw your headlines, I said, let me listen to hear what is happening. To extend that at the end of the day, the person will end up with sickness.
Yeah.
So their BP will go so high to extend that.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. And at the end of the day, the person will leave you because they know that now you are nothing for them.
Exactly.
So when are we going to realize and sit up and come out? Sometimes, it's not about coming out. It's to how to summon yourself to have the courage. When some of them, if there's a children in it, some of them, where am I going to live? You know, your income is not much. There's a lot that is going on. But people try to, oh, let me cope for my little child to be on this age. Then I can do this. Before you realize what shouldn't happen has happened. My brother, forgiveness is more than we can think of.
You know, I agree with you, emotionally speaking, but logically and psychologically, of course, affecting emotion as well psychologically. But if I look at it from my own end, I think that one of the things that people find it difficult to forgive is that they commit too much without considering the ability for the person to have flaws, to be faulty, to go wrong. That's one thing. We just believe that somebody should be perfect. Now, there are things that they would do. Like I said, there's always a trace. There's always a pattern. You can see the pattern from the beginning. For me to put blind eyes to it, for instance, now, if children want to start telling lies, you can tell as a parent. You know that this child is learning to tell lies. So that's a pattern until you don't want it to be worse where they are now calling you from school that they caught your son or daughter doing this and he lied or she lied. You don't want that. But you already know there's a pattern. So what I'm saying is this happened a lot in relationships before the marriage. We see a pattern, we just ignore it. And say, okay, maybe it's going to change. Maybe he's telling, maybe. There's always a maybe. And then we commit. We just go with our emotion and say, maybe if I commit, then he will be committing. So if I commit, then he will be serious. All of those gimmick. And at the end of the day, we end up in problem having to settle with somebody who is not really serious. Somebody who is a man, or I mean, who's not a man, is a boy, or a woman who is not a woman, but she's a girl. She still think of streets. So those kind of thing. In reality, there's a clear cut of pattern. That's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing that is difficult in relationship that cannot be overcome. If only two people understand what they are into, number one. Number two, understand that there's room for improvement. Then number three, are we actually engaging in improvement? Are we practicing it? Do we want a change? Do I want peace? Do I want commitment? Do I want to make this marriage work? Am I putting in the work? I'm not perfect. I may have said something wrong. I may have done something wrong, but I'm willing with all my heart to make a change, to improve. So you will find out that it will not get to that stage where we talk about deep hurts, deep cuts, deep bruises, some kind of things that will not happen that you think this one, there's no forgiveness in it. You get my point? It will not get there. So that's the point I want us to see. There's always a pattern for this thing to grow worse. It don't just happen once. This thing leaves a trace. You can see it. There's always a shadow behind. You see, you leave those shadows. People can see it. Pay attention to those shadows. Pay attention to those patterns. And then you can stop on those patterns and say, I know what this will lead to. Then you address it. It's as simple as that. But if you just say, well, I don't want to make him angry. I don't want to insinuate. And then you let it go on, and then something was happen. Then it happens. So that's one thing about it. And I know forgiveness is something that a lot of people think is not attainable or obtainable. It is absolutely not true. It is obtainable in any way. In fact, forgiveness is unlimited. It's something that you can give unlimitedly because human beings' worries, human beings' offenses are unlimited. So you get ready for that. It's just the person who you know that, okay, think you trusted this person so much. Somebody said there is marriage fraud. Sometimes everyone is in, except, yeah, see, that's the problem, you know. I can imagine that. You see, all of these things are results, problems, but there is always a cause and effect to everything. The root of this matter is that there have been a pattern that we didn't pay attention to. And that's the truth I'm trying to get everyone across. For instance, I can't imagine myself doing certain things because I've lived a life, a pattern that has controlled my thinking, my actions and my words. I know that that's the way I go.
Brother, sorry to cut in. The worst is that how many people admit to their mistakes?
That is it. That's what I want to come to.
How many people take accountability? Yes, I've done this and I am ready to amend or change. They don't. They feel it's their right to ride on other people.
especially when you're kind of dependent on them. They can go ahead and do anything. Unfortunately, what we lack most in our community is empathy and kindness. People don't want to be in your shoes. They just always say, oh, forget it, go, carry on, go on. It doesn't matter, it happens. They don't care about what you feel. They don't care what you're going through psychologically. You can see a woman that the child was abused by her own partner. That alone is a big disappointment. Talk more of your own child, this child you bought for him. Do you know what it meant?